right, should we get this party started? I want to start off, first of all, by thanking all of you guys for taking the time to participate today. I know one of you emailed and said, hey, I have a webinar, another webinar that starts at 11, and this does seem like the week of webinars. And I really feel privileged that you guys have, in the midst of all the noise that you're being bombarded with today, that you chose to participate in ours. So first and foremost, I want to make sure that we let you guys know that we do have if you go to srsdistribution.com, we have a COVID-19 response page that we added to that. There's a banner at the top of the page. If you click on that, you're going to see that there's a lot of information on there. We've got information from the CDC. We've got some of the specifics that we're doing at the branch level and at the corporate level to maintain the highest health and safety standards that we can. There's information on webinars and podcasts, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. And then there's also a letter from Dan Tinker, our CEO and president. And I actually did pull a quote from Dan's letter, and it says that our number one priority is the health and safety of our employees, customers, and suppliers as we continue to serve your business needs. And I thought it was important to start this webinar with that quote because I want to let you know that we're not doing this today because we need you guys to keep selling so that we can keep shipping you product, although that would be great. We want you to know that in the event that you have opportunities to service your customers, that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that it's done in a safe way, and we want to encourage you to do this in a safe way. And this whole webinar is really about how do we deal with this social distancing situation that we're working with and still be productive and still be in the relationship business and still do the things that we do. But before we get into that, I want to, kind of highlight and answer the question of, are we allowed to work? And guys, I want to tip my hat once again, as I always do, to the NRCA, because they are just a wealth of knowledge that continues to demonstrate their commitment to our industry and their being an advocate of everybody on this call. But if you go to their website, they have a whole page, a whole section, really well done, dedicated to giving you guys the resources that you need to kind of keep your business going. And one of the things that they addressed, and they pulled this information right off of the Department of Homeland Security website, is the question of essential critical infrastructure workforce. Are we considered, as a roofing contractor community, are we considered an essential business? And I just want to draw your attention to the second bullet point. It says here that workers such as plumbers, electricians, exterminators, and other service providers who provide services that are necessary to maintaining the safety, sanitation, and essential operation of residences, those are considered essential. So my interpretation of that is this: if you have a customer and they have a roof that's leaking, you are then an essential service provider because that homeowner is relying upon you for the safety, sanitation, and essential operation of their home. But I want to be clear, and I want to make sure we're clear. This is not legal advice. This is not information that is law or any part of any regulation. This is simply guidelines that the Department of Homeland Security is putting out there. And I would encourage you, if you're in a situation where you're being asked, why are you working, that you have this information printed and highlighted, and you can share it with the individual and say, hey, here's the situation. I've heard horror stories. I have a contractor in Pittsburgh who was pulled off of a roof. The roof was leaking. The homeowner had cancer. The contractor's like, what do you want me to do? And it was a mess. So hopefully, I think that as this evolves, some of this information is going to be a little bit clearer, and we're going to be able to have a more, kind of rational conversation about this. I do want to recognize our sponsor, RoofHub. We define RoofHub as a simple yet powerful all-in-one platform designed to help contractors manage all their SRS and material order needs. And guys, I don't want to turn this into an infomercial, but I do want to highlight some of the things that makes RoofHub a little bit different and better than a lot of the things that you're seeing out there today. A couple of differentiators for us. Number one, the delivery cockpit. Many people are surprised to know that the estimated delivery times that we put on within the delivery cockpit, that information is actually utilizing Google's crowdsourcing technology. So what's happening is Google's sending us data back based on the traffic patterns and the speed of our vehicles and what's happening in the area to give us a more accurate delivery time, just like our GPSs work. So unlike some of the others where they're just kind of using the WAG method and say, hey, we think we're going to be there at 7:15, we're telling you exactly when we're going to be there based on the information that we're getting when we're communicating with Google. And I think that updates about every 30 seconds. The other thing that's cool is interactive hail maps. And what makes those maps really so special, and by the way, we've partnered up with Predictive Sales AI, who provides just phenomenal detailed mapping. Gives you the size of the hail, the date of the weather event, the number of homes located. And by the way, I'm going to tell you at the end of this webinar about another webinar that we're doing with them, where they're going to show us a way that you can literally lasso a storm, lasso an area of the hail swath. It'll tell you how many homes you've chosen, and it will very inexpensively allow you guys to, virtually door knock all of the homes in that area to generate leads. So even they're helping us, live in this virtual world. What's really cool about RoofHub is smart template technology. Look, one of the things we know about our roofing contractor customers is this. If we handed you a drop-down list with 60,000 SKUs and said, build an order, you'd probably look at us like we were crazy. So what RoofHub does is it actually sends bots, artificial intelligence, into your order history, and it will build a template based on the items that you order most from SRS. So if you're an Owens Corning, platinum preferred contractor who uses duration shingles and all the components necessary to support that, platinum warranty, RoofHub's going to identify that. They're going to spit out a template for you with the Owens Corning logo right on there. So all you've got to do is go in, choose that item, choose the number or quantity that you need, change the color, if you will, and then process that order. We even have something called smart color technology, where if you choose driftwood as the shingle color, it's automatically going to assume all of the other colors for you, so you don't have to go in every line item and change all those colors. What's also cool about the smart template is in the event that you want to change a line item, for example, if you want to change to a different synthetic felt for some reason, rather than us asking you to comb through all of our different synthetic felt options, what RoofHub's going to do is they're going to use that smart template artificial intelligence to tell you and to recommend to you the synthetic felt options that you've ordered most from the branch. So you'll still see all the options, but at the top of the drop-down list, it's going to say RoofHub recommends, and then it's going to provide for you the top 2 options that you've bought most from us. Just really trying to eliminate the hassle of online ordering. And here's the deal, and I'm hoping some of you guys noticed the fact that I have a little banner at the bottom of this page that says 3% rebate. Look, we know that some of our contractors may be a little bit resistant to jump on the online ordering bandwagon. So we're going to kind of sweeten the pot for you here. Any RoofHub orders that are shipped between now and May 31st, and I want to be clear, they need to be ordered online using RoofHub, and you need to pay for those orders within the terms. You will earn a 3% rebate at the end of the promotional period. So, I mean, that could be a lot of money for some of you guys. So I would hope that you take advantage of that. I'd hope that you contact your territory manager or your branch manager and see, do whatever it takes to get on board with RoofHub. You will not be disappointed, trust me. So, it's interesting. I saw this quote a couple of weeks ago from the great Steve Jobs, and he said, today's winners think differently about markets, customers, and value delivery. And I always thought Steve Jobs was good for some, really powerful knowledge bombs. And this one kind of chilled me a little bit, because I thought, oh my gosh, even from the grave in the wake of this crisis, Steve Jobs is still, giving us, something to think about. And I thought about how that relates specifically to this whole social distancing situation that we find ourselves in. And this is a word or a phrase that I really wish would go away. And I know that many of you guys agree with me. But here's what's kind of amazing, right? I'll do a seminar for all of you guys, and we do 20 or 30 a year with SRS, and we'll do a 7-hour, here's how you sell at the kitchen table, here's the process for selling. And it always happens, right? At the end of the day, people will come up to me and they'll say, hey, John, at the end of the day, people buy from people. This is a relationship business. People buy from people. And it's a true statement. I mean, I agree with that 1,000%. But how does that statement apply to what we're dealing with today? I mean, we still need to identify opportunities to build powerful, relationships with the prospect that compel them to not only want to do business with us, but to actually want to spend more to do business with us, because we want to protect our profits too. So kind of how do we do that when we're being asked to, maintain that safe distance? And guys, I want to be clear that the real, overarching theme of this entire webinar is that we absolutely must resist the urge to email estimates. Because I guarantee you're going to have customers that are going to get on the phone with you and say, well, can you just email me an estimate? I also want you to resist the urge to feel the need to lower your price because you need the business or you want the business. You're worth something, and there's value in what you do. And everything that we're going to talk about today is going to build context around your price to the point where people are actually going to want to spend a little bit more or think that they would have to spend a little bit more to acquire your service. I mean, look, a Budweiser is a Budweiser, right? But if I order a Budweiser at the Omni Hotel in Dallas, Texas, I would expect that I'm going to pay $12 for that Budweiser. I would expect that I'm going to pay more, even though it's the same exact Budweiser that I buy down the street at some, honky-tonk bar for $2 a can. I mean, how cool would it be to create a context or a condition where the customer would feel like they should spend more to buy from you? And that's really what we're going to be talking about today. Guys, rule number one, and I say this in every meeting that we've done over the course of the past, 20 years, you absolutely must win the battle of perception. So how does emailing an estimate to the prospect, how does that help you win the perception battle? And many of you guys are aware of the Better Business Bureau statistics that I put out there, and we talk about the fact that contractors have been the least trusted business type that consumers do business with for 10 years. But I want you to think about this, because I dove a little deeper into the data just for you. There's about 75 million homes in the United States, and last year we replaced about 5.25 million roofs. So again, 5.25 million roofs were replaced. 5.25 million contractors were hired. And the Better Business tells us that last year, 5.48 million inquiries were raised about roofers. Think about that. 5.25 million contractors hire, 5.5 million inquiries to the Better Business Bureau. So if you think, look, it's reasonable to suggest based on those statistics that every single roofing project had at least one inquiry about a roofer. So if we think that simply floating an email out there with a price is going to create that condition, it's going to compel people to want to do business with us, I think we're deceiving ourselves. And I also think we're doing a disservice to the client too. So think about it this way. Homeowners are desperate to find differences to base their decisions on because they want to feel really good about making a smart decision. And if they don't see any differences, what are they going to look at? They have to look at the price because the price becomes the difference. So think about it this way. If I have 3 contractors that email estimates to the homeowner, and some of these guys try to do a good job. They're listing the number of years they've been in experience, their certification, their warranty, their accreditations, their shingle brand of choice. But at the end of the process, if I'm a homeowner looking at these 3 estimates, I've got to ask myself, what does the $14,000 Owens Corning contractor offer me that the other guys don't? And is the value of that difference, is it worth the extra cost? And guys, what we're going to really talking about today is how do we increase the perceived value of doing business with us so we can not only secure the appointment or secure the sale, get the commitment, but we can also do that at the price that we want and need to charge to make that happen. So here's kind of the agenda. We're going to go over the virtual sales process. I'm going to show you guys, how to tweak some things to, again, help increase the perceived value of us. We're going to talk about the sales consultation, and then we're also going to highlight some of the technology that's out there that you can use to enhance that presentation. But first things first, and this is really important, I want you to think about what's happening right now in the world, right? How many people are home, right? And how many people in some of the nicer areas, we've had some sunny days outside. I live in the Buffalo, New York area, and we've had some sunny days and found myself sort of outside, walking around my property and thinking about all the things that I want and need to do this summer when the weather gets better. And I bet that you've got a lot of clients, and maybe even some of you are doing the exact same thing. And some of those people are actually going onto the internet and starting to do some of their planning and their searching to see what it is that they, want to how to get things started. So I absolutely think one of the most important things that we need to do is we need to put some sort of a banner on our webpage right now that says we're open for business. And you need to, when you're letting them know that you're open for business, you also need to list out and answer some of the common questions that they're going to ask. And the most important question is, how do we get started and is it safe? So here's 5 things that I want you to make sure that your website is telling your customer. And if you're on social media, create some sort of a post that highlights some of this stuff. Yes, we're open for business. If you have a customer that has a project scheduled or in your pipeline, how are you going to complete that project? What's the plan? If there's somebody who you do not have as a customer and they're interested in starting a project, well, what's necessary for them to get started? I would also ask you to talk about how you care about the community and your employees and your customers and some of the things that you're doing specifically to address that need for social distancing and concern and being healthy. And then anything that's in your blog or video file or whatever you might have that might be a relevant tip or information that you can provide them with some resources that they can use to, maybe get them through these next, hopefully, few weeks. Look, you look at like websites, for example, and I know I'm getting a little bit down the road here as far as websites are concerned, but how cool would it be if the customer could go onto a page to request a virtual consultation? They type in their name, their information, they submit the request. There's also a really cool app out there called Calendly. It's basically calendar, but instead of the ER, it's LY. And what it does is it links in with your Outlook. It will allow you to make certain times available in your calendar, and then you can provide a link to the client, and they can choose the time that's great for them. And I've always said this was a great tool for storm restoration contractors, especially with clients that you've done work for in the past. Just send them a link and say, hey, we did your project on the last roof. We just had last storm. We just had some weather. Click here to schedule a roof inspection, and they choose the time and date that's convenient for them and that you're available to do it. But you also notice on this webpage that I've got on the left-hand side the process, and I talk about first step is we schedule a virtual consultation. Second step, we meet virtually with a sales consultant. The third step is we begin designing your roof, and the fourth step is we schedule it. So all I'm doing is I'm making it very easy for the customer to see, here's the steps that we're taking to make this entire process easy and safe for everybody involved. And here's a really important question that I want to ask everybody. Is this the new normal? Look, we've all known in the back of our minds, we've been thinking about it for years now. At what point are we going to be saying, hey, Alexa, find me a roofing contractor? And how much of that work, oh, my Alexa's now talking to me, but how much of that is now being thrust upon us today? Guys, my assertion is this: if we think that we're going to basically just ride this thing out for the next month and then go back to business as normal, as usual, I think we're deceiving ourselves. I think that we're at that point where we are in the midst of a monolithic shift, and that shift is going to call upon all of us to really be prepared to be in more of a virtual world. So please don't fight this, embrace it. So let's talk about the sales process. And guys, I'm not going to dive deeply into this, but I do want to let you know that this process that I teach, it really doesn't change very much relative to the virtual sales consultation. We still need to do a warm up and try to establish some rapport, although I would encourage you guys to start that process when you're setting the lead. We do need to do somewhat of a needs assessment to really get confirmation from the customer on what their expectations are of you as their contractor, their fears, their wants, their needs, their concerns. This is a great opportunity in a forum. In the virtual world, you should still be able to tell a company's story, although I would tell you that you probably have a little bit less time in a virtual environment, so you want to condense that down to really the most important items. Commitment questions are non-negotiable. After you tell your company's story, you're going to gain the customer's commitment of you as the contractor by simply saying, hey, we just talked a little bit about my company based on what we've talked about so far. How confident are you in our ability to handle this project? With their assertion that we definitely like you and we think you're great, we then move into our product presentation where we start to build out the roof with the customer. We give them options so that they can get more emotionally invested in the project and invested in you as their contractor. We then ask another commitment question specific to how do you feel about the product choices that we've made? If they feel good about that, we then trial close. Hey, besides the cost, is there any reason why we couldn't get your project started today? Then, assuming they say yes, we offer them the proposal, and I'll talk a little bit in the end about offering some sort of a stimulus package to address sort of the economic concerns of today, and then we ask for the sale. So the good news is the process doesn't really change, but I think we need to sort of flex ourselves within the process to kind of do it just a little bit differently. And I think it all starts with the way that we sell the virtual appointment. Guys, if you have a customer, and I want you to just think about this, if you have a customer that calls you and says, my roof is leaking, I don't know what to do, are you guys open? Job number one is to completely ease their concerns. You want them to know that you are the best choice because you can satisfy their needs safely and maintain that social distancing as a top priority. You're also going to use that first step to provide an overview of the sales process, not the one that I just shared with you, but the 4-step process. First step is we schedule a consultation. Second step is, I'll go out and I'll do an inspection. You don't need to be there. I'll do it on my own. Third step is we schedule a consultation to discuss the results of the inspection and start to build out the roof. Fourth step of the process is we get you guys set up on financing if you need it. And the fifth step is we schedule the project. So very simple overview of your interaction with the homeowner from today to the point where they're happily living in their new roof. I'm also a big fan of scripts. Again, salespeople don't like scripts because they don't want to be, you're taking away my personality. I'm not taking away your personality. I'm just giving you talking points that you can memorize and internalize and make them a part of who you are so that you can deliver that message in your own speak and in your own style and in your own personality. One other thing I have on here is that when you schedule the inspection, if you're going to continue to do inspections, which is always a good idea, I encourage you to let the homeowner know that we're going to send you a text when we're on the way, or we're going to send you a text 1 hour before we arrive at your home. Reason being is you're trying to feed the perception that you're going to deliver a significantly better experience. So why don't you make little promises and keep those promises and demonstrate your exceptionalism? The other reason why I want to do this is because a lot of people got a lot of stuff going on right now. I mean, I got 4 kids running around my house for the next month, driving everybody crazy. They might be in the middle of something. All of a sudden they hear somebody walking around on the roof and thinking, what the heck's going on? So you send them that quick text sort of helps them, keep in check. Oh, good, the roofer's coming, right? So here's an example of a sample script, just to help you guys get a sense of what we're talking about. Homeowner calls and says, my roof is leaking, don't know what to do. We very, genuinely and authentically respond and say, hey, look, we completely understand. Look, for your safety, we do offer a virtual option that allows you to receive firm pricing good for up to 6 months. All you need to take advantage of this virtual consultation is access to a computer or a tablet with a camera. And we'll need 30 or 45 minutes of your time and from anyone else who might benefit from being involved in this discussion. Does that sound good to you? So this simple script basically sets the expectation that we're happy to do this virtually. I need 30 to 45 minutes with you and anybody else that might benefit from being out, and I need you to be on a computer or a tablet with a camera. So we're just setting that expectation. Remember what I said about feeding the perception of providing a significantly better experience, and that starts with the scheduling of the appointment. When you send out your Zoom meeting invitation, if you guys, you've seen these meeting invitations, they're just filled with a lot of symbols and numbers and links that really are hard to navigate. My suggestion is clean that up. Put your marketing hat on. In this case, I have my logo. I've written a personalized message. I have the link. I even have a note that says, hey, if you're interested in learning more about our financing options, click here, and it takes them right to your Green Sky landing page. Also, think about how your virtual appointment, how it reads on the client's calendar. Please, try to set a standard here. Don't say roofing talk or we're gonna jam about your roof, right? Say something that's kind of marketing savvy, right? Less risky roofing project discussion. If I was scheduling a Roof Hub demo with you, I might say, experience the power of Roof Hub at 6 p.m. One of the other things, when we talk a little bit about the technology, guys, I'm a big fan of Zoom. I mean, I've become obviously pretty intimate with Zoom these past couple of weeks. I've used some of the others. I just think Zoom's platform is easy, and I also like the fact that they offer a little bit of a free startup period that allows you guys to kind of play with it and get comfortable with it. So here's just a couple of rules as it relates to whatever service provider you're going to use. Number one, you've got to train your reps to use the software. And one of the things I would strongly suggest is that you encourage your team to set up meetings with one another where they could go through the entire process and get really comfortable with the technology. And if you're an owner or a sales manager, I would also encourage you to have your team members set up a meeting with you so that you can kind of verify that they're leaving the right and making the right impression. If they have access to dual monitors, I would strongly suggest dual monitors, because I want you to think about what you're going to show your client over the course of that Zoom discussion. You've got inspection photos or videos that you're going to share. You've got your own presentation. You've got product information and product literature and color charts and maybe a website that you're going to direct them to. If you have two monitors, you can actually show the screen, have the screen that's on the presentation with your client on one monitor, and have all the other data on the other monitor. So now as you're introducing them to, now I want to get into my company's story, all you've got to do with your mouse is drag that item from screen number 2 into your presentation screen, and it makes it a lot easier to manage. Here's probably the most important thing that you need to take away from this, virtual consultation discussion. It needs to be insanely interactive. Guys, think about it from this perspective. If you're sitting across the kitchen table from a client, right, and you're delivering a very boring presentation, which I know none of you would do, they've pretty much got to sit there. And many people are not going to say, dude, this is boring me, please leave. But now when you're in a virtual environment, if you're boring the crap out of them, what do you think is going to happen? There's a good chance that they're just going to, without you seeing, they're going to drag their mouse over, click the X button, and then look at one another and goes, oh my gosh, that was horrible. So please try to use pictures, use videos, keep customers engaged in the conversation, ask questions, get them involved, make pricing super simple. And guys, I want you to know that we're going to have a webinar called Advanced Selling Strategies. It's probably next week sometime, where we're going to talk about really how to position a good, better, best product offering in a way that really motivates people. It uses psychological or behavioral economics to motivate people to buy the stuff that you want them to buy. And I also have on here, offer a stimulus package. People are going to have concerns about the economic climate. So what type of financing options are you going to give them that are going to allow them to sort of ride out these next couple of months safely, get their roof taken care of, and then feel comfortable about the payments moving forward? Couple of other little tidbits. Please close your email notification and calendar notifications to prevent distractions. And we've all done this, right? You've sitting in a meeting, somebody's doing a presentation up on a screen, and they get a calendar invite or an email, and we all dive to look at what that is before it disappears. Turn that stuff off. It's distracting. I would also encourage you to use the F11 button, because that will blow up your browser into full screen mode, and it will hide all the other things that you have open in your browser. Like right here, I've got examples of some things that I might not want my customer to see, like the fact that I'm searching cuddly kitten videos and doing a Google search on how to remove a rash. Please also be aware of your background. Some backgrounds are extremely distracting, and you just don't want people going, oh my gosh, look at this guy's background. I'm a fan of virtual backgrounds. I'm using a virtual background right now. They offer some pretty wild virtual backgrounds. My son had a WebEx with one of his classes the other day, and he used a virtual background. It made it look like he was in a sewer. I don't know why he chose that, but you can have some fun. I'm not a fan of the space backgrounds because I just don't think it connects very well with what we're doing. I know we've got a lot of people from Owens Corning who registered for our webinar, and so we'll give them a plug with the old, sort of Pink Panther, pointing out the fact that this guy desperately needs a haircut. So I'm going to show you just a short, quick video right now that really identifies a fail from a virtual presentation perspective, and maybe some of you guys can relate to this in some of the virtual conversations that you've had with teammates or customers.
Happen all the time. The question is, how do marketers find those channels? And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me.
Korea, South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been?
So I think some of us could probably relate to that. And here's the deal, right? I think in our world, if you're on a virtual consultation with a client and one of your kids walks in the room, I would strongly suggest that we don't arm bar the child and then have our wife or nanny or whomever come in and then, you know, rip the child's arm out of its socket. I mean, we're people. So, I mean, this type of stuff happens. I think people appreciate that. I would pick the kid up, put him on my lap, introduce him to the customer, and then, you know, kind of have him be on his way, just to sort of make that sort of emotional connection, that human being connection to the client. And I think you guys get that. But again, this is just an example of be aware of your environment and your surroundings and your background. So let's talk a little bit about your presentation. And one of the things I think is a pretty cool idea is I use the EagleView report, and I actually, right from their PDF file, I lassoed out the photo within the flyer or the report, and I pasted it into my PowerPoint presentation. I put my logo on it, and I put a title on there. It says DeRosa Residence Roof Makeover. I just think it'd be really cool as a client to, when you click on your presentation or when you enter your webinar with them, that they see a picture, an aerial shot of their home such as this. I think that's kind of engaging and kind of powerful. So just a quick idea there. As far as the inspection is concerned, hopefully you guys all recognize the, you know, critical importance of using pictures and video, preferably, to you know, show the customer what's going on their project. One of the other reasons why I'm a fan of using pictures and video is because the primary goal of the inspection, I mean, outside of us checking the project for visual confirmation of what it needs from a product or application perspective, we also are using the inspection to try to teach the customer something about their home, right? You got to think up until this point, you know, I'm just a sales rep trying to sell them something. But if I could teach them something about their home, then I become an expert in their mind, and I shift from salesperson into, you know, trusted advisor. I'm also a fan, just another like kind of crazy idea, but before you leave the home, let's assume you did an inspection. Before you leave the home, I would take your cell phone and I would do a short selfie video with their home as the background. And all I'm saying is, hey, Mrs. Smith, just completed your roof inspection. Looking forward to meeting with you in a few days virtually so that we can talk about the results and start talking about your project. Have a great day. Hope you're doing well. Short video. Want to make sure it's easy to, you know, view and that kind of thing. But the reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to jumpstart that relationship with the client. I'm trying to get them a little bit more comfortable with me as their sales consultant. And I'm also trying to get them a little bit more comfortable with the technology that we're going to be using. Are you comfortable seeing me on the screen? Great. Now, the only other thing we need to work on is getting you on the screen so we can have a really productive conversation. Guys, I'll also tell you that, you know, I'm a big fan of EagleView, regardless of whether you think it's critical to do a roof inspection or not. EagleView provides highly detailed, guaranteed accurate roof estimates that really gives you all the information that you need to write a proposal without you having to go to the job site. And I would also encourage you guys, many of you probably, if you didn't go to the IRE this year, if you're not up on your EagleView program, they've just come out with a new program called EagleView Works. And it literally will allow you and your salespeople to walk the homeowner through the entire process: estimate, material selection, visualizations, contract signing. It's a really cool tool. And I think that it does sort of parlay into that, you know, new normal conversation that we just spoke about. So if you haven't looked at it, it's called EagleView Works. And you can just go to eagleview.com and request information, or contact one of our people, your SRS salesperson, and we'll set up a virtual meeting, of course, with you and EagleView to help run that demo for you. Guys, look, we believe so strongly in the value of EagleView that we're offering a free EagleView promotion now through the end of May. If you use an EagleView report, we will credit you back the cost of that report if it results in an order that you purchase, if it results in a project that you purchase from SRS. So again, we're telling you guys that we believe in the technology of RoofHub and online ordering, and we're going to give you a 3% rebate on all orders that you place using RoofHub. We're also going to pay for your EagleView reports, again, because we just think this is such a valuable tool and we want you to be safe. So guys, once we do the inspection and we kind of give them, teach them something about their home, we're then going to tell our company's story. And the goal of the company's story is really for you to answer this important question: why should you buy it from me? And guys, I have that little note that says focus on your customer. Please don't make your presentation about we, me, I, or us. It needs to be about them. Focus on the client. Talk about you're going to enjoy. One of the things that you're going to see about us. One of the things that you're really going to love. One of the things that our customers love most about us is the way that we do this. Make it about them. Show them photos of the steps that you're going to take to minimize inconvenience. Show them what's going to happen as they move through the entire process. Identify any concerns that were raised during your needs assessment. And please try to use pictures to tell your story. One other really cool thing is the way RoofHub can actually be used as a selling tool. Now, I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but back in 1955, McDonald's used to put on their signs how many hamburgers were served. And as the numbers grew from 1 million to 99 billion, well, so did McDonald's sales and profits. And the reason why it worked is it's called social proof selling. And what McDonald's was doing was they were feeding the perception that people really enjoy our hamburgers. 99 billion of them, as a matter of fact. RoofHub provides you with the same opportunity to provide social proof of your exceptionalism. Go to roofhub.pro, click on the weather button, and then click on the show past orders button. And what it will do is it will populate into that map all of the deliveries all the locations of all the deliveries that we've made for you over the course of the past 5 years. So now when you provide this to your customer, you're feeding the perception that you might be the best choice. Social selling works like this. Social selling works with the assumption that people conform to the actions of others because they assume that those actions were the best decision. So all we're doing is we're saying, just like when you see things like, here's our most popular option. When you give people options and you say most popular choice, it's helping people know what other people have chosen, and that makes that choice more viable. The other thing that's cool about this show past orders is in the event of a storm, you guys are going to be able to populate within the swath of the storm all the delivery locations that we've made for you for the past 5 years. You can click on those dots. Those dots will allow you to pull up the order. And then you can easily, with one-touch order templates, you can turn that into a template. And then you can go in and you can change colors or sizes or amounts as you deem necessary and just quickly create an order. Other things to include in your company story, and as you sort of transition into your product presentation, talk about the most common roof problems and why people need to hire a professional. Talk about the weather that exists in their particular area and all the things that you're going to do to ensure a successful outcome. I'm also a big fan of showing them a picture of their home. And the EagleView report, may be able to help you in this area. Show a picture of their home and talk about the critical roof areas. And in this little graph or chart here, I have chimney, bathroom vents, skylight, valleys, dormers. These are obviously identified as critical roof areas because these are the areas where leaks happen. So I'm going to want to talk to them about how we address those areas. And just another cool plug for EagleView is what I like is it'll actually show you, like in the case of a valley, you can then highlight for the homeowner and say, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, in your home, you have 20 valleys and we have about 181 feet of valley. That's a critical roof area. You might then even highlight some of the valleys in the area that you've been called out to inspect, and then also show them some of the options that you have from a valley perspective. And you'll notice here I'm offering 2 options. I'm inviting them to make product choices because people like choice. Keep in mind, guys, when you offer somebody the option between one of 2 or one of 3 choices, what you're doing is you're shifting the decision from should I buy or not buy to which one do I want. And that second option, which one do I want, renders a decision. So it really facilitates action. It's the action that you want. It's the commitment. So I might see here our most common is a closed cut valley, very similar to what you're going to see on many of your neighbors' houses. We recommend, an open metal valley, and here's the reasons why. Which option do you think is you'd like us to offer in your proposal? And notice here I help them make the popular decisions by highlighting that in the presentation. Now, guys, I mentioned earlier about a stimulus package, and it's going to be really important that you take away objections about current economic conditions. Everybody knows that this thing's going to end. We know that the market's going to turn around. The question is when. So I want you guys to focus on how do you alleviate, that concern. And I can tell you that our friends at GreenSky have come out with I'm going to refer to it as a GreenSky stimulus package. Just look at these options here. This is probably some of the most aggressive loans that I've seen out there. The client can have a 6-month or 12-month zero interest, zero payment loan. And then after that period, the loan converts to a 5.99 APR for 120 months. And I'll tell you guys, the merchant fees on these loans, they've discounted them as well. So you'll be pleasantly surprised when you go into your portal to see what these loans cost. Look, if you want to learn more about this package, and also GreenSky has changed the authorization process. So all you need to do is initiate an email to GreenSky that says, I'm seeking payment of $5,000 to start this project. GreenSky then sends an email or a text to the homeowner. The homeowner verifies, yes, I want to pay this, and then you get paid. So you don't even have to show up at the house anymore to have them sign off or swipe a card or do any of that stuff. It's completely virtual, completely paperless. We're doing a webinar tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time. If you scan this QR code, it will invite you, it'll give you a little thing that pops up, a banner that pops up on your phone that you can then use to register. But please don't delay in registering for this webinar. I mean, we are, I think, 50 seats away from being max capacity. As of this morning, I think we had about 450 people on this thing. So don't blow this thing off if it's something that you're interested in. Look, guys, I want to close this meeting up with just one quick point. We're all in this together, and I believe that if we work together, we'll come out of this stronger than we ever were before. And I believe that I speak for every person on the SRS team and all of our family of brands when I say this. We are absolutely committed to your success, and we want to do everything we can to help us really make the most of this tremendous opportunity. And guys, I have to look at this. I know it's a horrible situation that we're all in, but I want to, see the silver lining is the fact that we can now focus on the areas of our business that we need to, that's going to make us even stronger when this thing turns around. And I and everybody at SRS is committed to helping you do that. Guys, I mentioned that this landing page for COVID-19, there's a link there for webinars. Couple of webinars that we've got scheduled. I mentioned the one about financing tomorrow. I've already mentioned about advanced pricing strategies. The magic bullet to scaling your business. I've got Jeff Wisniewski from Giddy Up Roofing who's going to talk about some of the best practices that he's seen with some of his most successful contractors that he's worked with. We're going to do a Telling Your Company Story workshop, and that one should be interesting. We'll have some homework for you to really help you build that presentation so that you can answer the question, why should you buy from us? I'm also going to have a topic called Stop Training, Start Coaching. This is really designed for sales managers and business owners and teaches us how to create a coaching culture that really drives our people by setting clear expectations and holding them accountable. And then we have another topic called Reshaping the Stormer Sales Process. I think that if you're a storm restoration contractor, my experience is that the system or the process that we're using to sell, I think it's broken. And what I'm going to show you guys is how do we incorporate some of the really important retail elements into the stormer element for the benefit of enabling us to secure the appointment or the contract, put the customer in a position where they think they need to pay the deductible, and also reduce cancellations. And then the last one, we just added this today. We have another program through Predictive Sales AI called Digital Door Knocking. It's smart selling through virtual appointments. And this is where I showed you, you can go on their Hail Map, you can lasso that area. It's going to tell you how many homes, you can specify the demographic that you want to speak to, and it's going to show you how to very inexpensively turn that swath into leads for your business. Guys, if there's ever anything that I can do for you or your business, please don't hesitate to contact me. If there's a topic that you'd like us to speak to in these next few weeks, send me an email. I might not be the expert on that topic, but I could probably find somebody who is, and I'll make arrangements to do a meeting or at least get you that information so you can do that on your own. We will send out an email in the next day or two, just recapping some of the stuff that we discussed here with links to all of the services that we mentioned. But again, if there's ever anything I can do for any of you, please don't hesitate to contact me. Stay healthy, and remember, we're in this together. So let's work together, and I really believe that we can all be stronger in the end. Thanks so much for participating, and I look forward to seeing all you guys real soon. Take care.